Assalamu alaikum. In the most holy name of Allah, who came in the person of Master W.D. Farad Muhammad, and in the name of his divine servant and messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I greet our listeners, our viewers, in the greeting words of peace and paradise in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum. Brothers and sisters, welcome to Muhammad's Sunday Lectures. These Sunday lectures are brought to you by Muhammad Temple of Islam United. We are members of the Nation of Islam. I am Brother Abdul Haq Muhammad, a minister and student of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his teachings. So I welcome you. I welcome all of you to our Sunday lectures. And I can never, ever thank Allah, if I lived 1,000 years, for raising up in our midst a leader, a teacher, and a guide in the person of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. What a wonderful man. What a graceful man that kept his word to Allah to raise up the black man and woman here in America who were rejected and despised not only by the people of the world, we even rejected ourselves. So, thank you, brothers and sisters. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a relative that Muhammad's Temple of Islam United Sunday Lectures is on the air. And brothers and sisters, we like to thank all those brothers and sisters who subscribe to the Nation of Islam, whether you are a registered Muslim or you just believe in the teachings. Because many of us may not have come and registered or became a Muslim inside the Temple of Islam or the mosque, but you believe in these teachings. And all those brothers and sisters who are members of the Nation of Islam, wherever you are, long as you hold up the name of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the God that taught him in person, Master Farad Muhammad, you're all right with me. I don't have to believe in everything, how you see things, how you focus your attention. But if you believe in that man, we thank you for all the work and keep his name alive. So, brothers and sisters, we are members of the Muhammad's Temple of Islam United, the Nation of Islam. We have many of our brothers who are ministers that come before you every week with a lecture, a timely lecture by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his teachings. We have Minister Wali Muhammad out of Killeen, Texas. We have Minister Daniel Shabazz out of Phoenix, Arizona. Minister Oscar Shahir in Ohio, and there are many more, many more. But brothers and sisters, before I get started, there's something that we do traditionally when we open up our lectures. We do what is called the opening prayer. Some of you may not be a Muslim, some of you may not be familiar with this prayer. So, but follow me, who or whatever you believe in, it's a good prayer, and I think you can relate to it. So we pray in this manner. You can follow us in this manner, or you can just stand, or you can just focus and listen as I start the Muslim opening prayer. Surely I have turned myself to thee, O Allah, trying to be upright to He who originated the heavens and the earth, and am not of the polytheists. Surely my prayer and my sacrifice, my life and my death, are all for Allah, the Lord of all the worlds. No associates has he, and this I am commanded. I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art thy king, and there is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. I have been greatly unjust to myself, and I confess my faults. So grant me protection against all my faults, for none grants protection against faults but thou. And guide me unto the best of morals, for none guides unto the best of morals but thou. And turn away from me the evil and the indecent morals, for none can turn away the evil and the indecent morals but thou. And O Allah, make Muhammad successful, and the followers of Muhammad successful, here in the wilderness of North America, as thou did make Abraham and the followers of Abraham successful. For surely thou art praised and magnified. And O Allah, bless Muhammad and the followers of Muhammad here in the wilderness of North America, as thou did bless Abraham and the followers of Abraham. For surely thou art praised and magnified. Amen. Brothers and sisters, once again, thank you for joining us in the Muslim opening prayer. Again, my name is Brother Abdul Haq Muhammad. I'm a member of the Nation of Islam. I've been a member of this great body, all praises due to Allah, for nearly 60 years. And I thank Allah that I am still a member. And I thank Allah for Mr. Muhammad for reaching out in his teaching, finding me as a young man in New York City. Born and raised in New York City. I'm still here. So welcome again. We have a great subject today, and we want you to listen. It's not going to be a long subject, but it will be a subject that I really, really want you to listen to, because we're living at a day and time that is more serious, in my opinion, than any other time in the history of America and the world and black people here in America. Okay? We are not new. The Nation of Islam is not a new organization or religious body or whatever way you want to describe us. We've been here nearly 97 years. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that he, as an ignorant man, a man who was steeped in the Christian tradition and steeped in the Bible, met a man in 1931. The man introduced himself as W.D. Farad. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, not long after, recognized the man as Allah in person. And you may say, how could he recognize Allah in person? Allah is not a man. Who told you he wasn't a man? Who said that? Who told you? Who gave you those kind of ideas? God has always been a man. And he's not a spirit or a spook. He can give a spirit, but God is not something untangible. And I always say, if God don't want me to see him, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, then I don't want to see that God. God is real. He's in you. He's about you. He's in your everyday life. In fact, he is you, if you but understand. But our subject today, many of us teach the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, His teachings are very, very deep, very, very profound, but they're very basic. And the basic teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and they said his teachings fits the black man and woman like a glove fits a hand. It was designed for us. And that design has engulfed us and has given us a purpose in life and an understanding of we as a people and an understanding of God and what we have to do for ourselves. Okay? Wake up, clean up, and stand up. That is the basic or one of the basic teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Wake up, black man and woman. Clean up once you wake up, black man and woman. And then stand up and face those necessary things for your survival here in America. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us in all of his writings that God gave him the solution, not just a solution, but the divine solution for the problems of the black man and woman here in America. Now, his teachings stretched far and beyond, but his basic message was to the black man and woman of America who was robbed of the knowledge of ourselves, robbed of the knowledge of our God, robbed of the knowledge of our language, our culture. And we were brought here to America over 400 years ago. Over 400 years ago. And made deaf, dumb, and blind to the knowledge of ourselves and the knowledge of God. So these teachings are designed for us. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has a plan. Let me read something from the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in one of his books called Message to the Black Man in America. This book was published in 1965. Each and every brother and sister, black man and woman family should have a copy of this in their library. See, many of us don't read. I can tell when I'm listening to people, they don't read. You know, we have social media now. At the tip of your hand, you can go to Google. You can go to the internet and find all kinds of information. But most of you will not pick up a book. The art of reading gives you discipline. The more you read, the more you understand. The more you understand, the better you can present yourself and gives you a basic, fundamental, thorough knowledge of yourself and the world that you live in. You got to read, brothers and sisters. You got to read. Pick up, even if you spend 15 or 20 minutes a day, read something and teach your children to read. Okay? In the preface of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's book called Message to the Black Man in America. Now listen to this. This is the time that we are living in. He says, as we near the exhaustion of the wisdom of this world, which has not been able to shed enough light on our path in search for supreme wisdom to keep us from stumbling and falling, we now seek the wisdom of Allah, the best knower and the guide in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever. The reader will find that light in this book, Elijah Muhammad, Messenger of Allah. We are at the exhaustion. What does the word exhaustion mean? We are at the point where everything has been exhausted. Everything has been completed and depleted. Now we have to seek the wisdom and the guidance of Allah. We would always say in the Nation of Islam, there will be a time of the manifestation of all defect. Everything that was in the dark would come to the light. And everything that was hidden would be revealed. So you are living in that time, brothers and sisters. You are living in that time. So we truly seek the wisdom and the guidance of Allah. All praises is due to Allah. Here in 2025, our people are moaning, they're groaning, they're crying, they're in fear, they're in horror of what is happening with this United States government under Donald Trump and all of his companions and all of his sidekicks. You are afraid. And I'm listening to all of our brothers and sisters on social media, on television, on many of the outlets. And I can tell you don't know what to do. You have no guidance. Questions are asked to some of these leaders, and they don't have an answer. They don't have a solution. It's so pitiful. But you got to stand up today. You got to be able to fight. First of all, you got to wake up. Then you got to clean up. And of course, then you stand up. Many of you are watching how the United States administration under Donald Trump is sending the National Guards into major cities, black communities in those major cities. Chicago, Tennessee, Washington, D.C. Those cities have large populations of black people. He's talking about sending them to New York City. Don't think you understand who these people are, because I don't think you know who they are. Some of you call them clowns. Some of you call them hillbillies. Some of you call them crazy. But let me tell you something, brothers. So you don't know who they are. Those are just name calling. But have you understand, or do you understand the very nature of this beast, this devil who you are dealing with? He's not just some ordinary person. Yaqub designed him to cause confusion, to lies and tricks and evil behavior. You just don't know who you're dealing with. They're sending the National Guard in these cities, and some of you don't know how to deal with it. And he's doing it under executive action and executive privilege. Because in the Constitution of the United States of America, some of you need to read it. You'll find that there are things that the President of the United States can do that defies all reason. And you cannot stop it unless you rise up. But you got to wake up first. As a young FOI, and they're sending right today National Guard into these cities. See, National Guards, you have to understand their training. Some of you were in the army. Some of you made commitment to the white man while you were in the devil's army. But some of you cannot commit yourself to the leadership of black men. When I came in the nation, I had to say, yes, sir, to black men and women. Yes, ma'am. I would see Sister Captain. I would see Brother Captain Yusuf Shah, we knew at the time as Captain Joseph. And I saw young brothers that was 6 and 7 years old, I would say, yes, sir, brother. Yes, sir, Brother Neil. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was teaching us to respect back leadership and respect and love your brother and sister as you love yourself. As a young FOI, I was selling the Muhammad Speak. This is in 1967. I believe 1967. And at that time, black people wasn't buying the Muhammad Speak newspaper. Y'all got it easy today. They're taking the papers from you. But I would be out there for 2, 3, 4 hours. I would have a 50 Muhammad Speak newspaper. Sometimes I would just sell 2 because the black people didn't want, I don't want that paper. But in 1967, in Newark, New Jersey, they had what we call riots. We call them uprising. And there was a lot of looting going on. The United States government at that time, in 1967, I believe Johnson was the president. Lyndon Baines Johnson was the president because that was after the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Lyndon Baines Johnson was the president, and they sent troops, National Guards, into these cities, in particular Newark. And there was a lot of looting going on. See, the National Guard are trained to kill. They don't have no consultation, training. They're not going to sit down with you and do therapy. And they are trained for one thing: to protect the property and kill those that defy that property. And every time, and as a young Muslim, I don't want to lose my point on this. I was trying to sell the Muhammad Speaks. And what I did was I went home and found the Life magazine at that time. And on the front page cover of the Life magazine, there was a picture of a young boy in Newark, shot in the head as his body laid on the ground, blood streaming from his body. He was only 12 years old. His name was Joey Bass Jr. And every time I talk about this here, I get kind of choked up. He was shot as a result of another young man by the name of Billy Furr. Billy Furr was only 24 years old, and he ran into a store, a supermarket, a grocery store, and stole a case of beer. And the National Guards told him to drop it, and he continued to run, and they shot him several times and killed him over a case of beer. They're coming into these cities. You don't know who these people are, but you got to be prepared, brothers and sisters. They killed Billy Furr. And in that city, several black men were killed in Newark, New Jersey, and in 1967, and also after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King in 1968. Yes. So we have to understand what's happening today. Now, how do you deal with that? How do you prepare yourself to deal with this time that you're living in and the people that you're dealing with that are over these cities? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that we have to go to Scripture that was pointed out to him by Master Fard Muhammad. Now, this is a Bible. And we in the Nation of Islam, we believe in the Bible. What we believe has been poisoned. But we were taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad where we can point out those things that are poison and be able to point those things out that are not. Now, how do you fight? How do you deal in this day and time? How are you able to survive, black man and black woman? To show you what you're dealing with, I'm going to go to the book of Ephesians. And when I quote this, you need to go after this lecture is over in your spare time and read it yourself. But in the book of Ephesians, now according to the metaphysical Bible, the word Ephesians, you just can't quote it. You got to know what it means. This is why I ask the brothers to study, to read. What does the word Ephesians mean? It means the thoughts that belong to man. Okay? A state of consciousness in man and enlightenment. Consciousness, enlightenment, thoughts that are consciously preserved. That's what the word Ephesians mean. Okay? Now, let me read this so you understand who you're dealing with. Under this title in the book of Ephesians, which is the, let me give you the chapter. Chapter 6, verse 10. Under the title, The Battle Against Evil. See, when you're in a battle, you're in war, brothers and sisters. You're at war with evil, not just in the flesh, but in the mind. Okay? It says, for we fight. It says, for our fight is not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world. Let's go on. And against spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to resist in the evil day, and having done all. There's some points I want to make here. For we fight not against flesh and blood. So you're not just fighting against flesh and blood. You're not fighting against just objects and men and women, but against the principalities, governments, ideas, philosophies. Okay? And you have to understand and know those philosophies and ideas in order to fight against this evil. Against the rulers of darkness. Why do you say darkness? Because in darkness there is no light. And when, you know, when you was in the street, most of the things, when you did something wrong, it was in darkness. When nobody was looking. Where you could hide. And darkness means the absence of light. And when there is no light, there is no truth. This is why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us that there was an atom of life spinning in darkness for trillions of years. And that atom emerged and caused a great light and came into existence. And that is where we came from. Okay? You are fighting against spiritual forces. This is why you have to go beyond what you've been taught every day about the reality of God and reality of the devil. You're fighting against spiritual forces, something that is beyond your comprehension. Forces that are embedded in our schools where our children are. Forces of spiritual darkness that's in the colleges and in the universities. These are the things that you need to be aware of. Forces and in heavenly places. Why do you say heavenly places? You talking about up in the sky? We're talking about those forces that present themselves as being under God. Those religious institutions. Those forces on higher levels than you can understand. It instructs you, therefore, take up the whole armor of God. The whole armor. And we're going to get into that in a minute, talking about the armor of God and what that means. So, the purpose of understanding this, when you are fighting against principalities and powers and the evil of this day, you got to have a plan. You got to be able to go forth, brothers and sisters, with something that you know that you can overcome and survive. That's why the question was asked in the book of Revelations. Who's able to make war with the beast? Who is the beast? Who is the beast that the book of Revelation, that's where you find that, is talking about? And what is the armor of God? All right, we're moving on, brothers and sisters. Bear with us for a few more minutes. You're going to learn something today. And when you learn this here, you got to use it to fight against these forces that are out there. The first thing is, you got to wake up. You got to wake up, brothers and sisters. See, you can be easily put to sleep. There's the physical sleep, and then there's the mental sleep. So you ever heard the term person is sleepwalking? It means that they're walking around, they're physically functioning from one point to another, but consciously they are asleep. This is what's happening here in America to not just black people, but the masses of the people are asleep. You can be physically asleep. Listen to this. The average person sleeps about 8 hours a day. They said you need 8 hours sleep. If you only live 80 years, the average person, they have calculated, lives about 80 years. If you sleep 8 hours a day, that's 2,920 hours in the 80 years. Okay? That seems like a very short period, right? You say, I live 80 years, I only sleep 2,000 hours approximately. Yes. So if you sleep 8 hours a day, and you only live 80 years, you sleep about 30 years of your life. You are asleep. You're in a state of occultation. You're unconscious. You're dreaming. You're asleep. So that means if you live 80 years, then you only were conscious about 50 years. You only are living about 50 years of your life because you only are living about 80 years, and 30 years of that life, you are asleep. That's on the physical level. Now, mentally and spiritually, you might be asleep the whole 80 years if you are not conscious of the time that you're living in and what you must do in that time. So you got to wake up and understand everything that's happening around you. You have to study like a leopard or like a tiger when he goes into the jungles. When he goes to seek out his prey, he takes an assessment of everything that's around him. He knows where all the monkeys are. He knows what's in the bushes. He knows and understands where all the snakes and all the other animals are. You understand? He's aware of his environment. It is the same with us, brothers and sisters. Some of you have never even been out of your community. The only time you get out is when you go downtown or you go somewhere and you buy a pair of sneakers or you go get your car washed. You got to broaden your scope. But that comes through study. That comes through disciplining yourself. But you got to wake up. Why do we use the term wake up? You know, the young brothers and say, stay woke. You got to stay woke because you know why they use that term, stay woke? Because you can easily go back to sleep. Let me give you an example. You know, when you get up in the morning, you know you got to get up. You know you got to go to school. You know you got to go to work. You know you got to get up and do the necessary chores and things to take care of your home or your house or your apartment. But you will lay there in the bed knowing that you got to get up. And sometimes when you get up, you lay there for 10, 15 minutes. Let me get another 5 minutes. Next thing you know, you done slept another hour. See? Consequently, that can happen in your life. You can say, well, I have to do this here. I have to make sure my family is well. I have to make sure that things are taken care of. And then you go right back to sleep, just like you did when you were laying in the bed and you realize. This is why, if you notice, a lot of times our people are not proactive, they are reactive. Things are happening in their community, happening in their homes, and then they wait till the thing almost is totally out of control, then you want to react to it. Sometimes it's too late because you're asleep. I remember me and my brother, we were like 10. He was about 4 years older than me. I was like 8. He was like 10 or 11 years old. We would be asleep in the morning. My mother would try to get us up. She said, get up. Time to go to school or whatever we had to do. And sometimes we would get up and sit on the side of the bed. And then when my mother left, we would get right back in the bed and go back to sleep. Or we would play like we were asleep. That is sometimes what's happening personally in our lives and collectively as a people. We are back to sleep. You got to wake up. And this is why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad called us and said, wake up, black man. Wake up, black woman. The time is at hand. And he emphasized the time because once you wake up, you got to know what time it is. Okay? And you have to stay woke. We're moving right along, brothers and sisters. Once you wake up out of your bed, or out of your slumber, or out of your sleep, what is the first thing you got to do? You just don't walk outside. Your mouth is all nasty. You got sleep all in the corners of your eyes. Your breath is stinking. You got your drawers on. Okay? Your hair is not combed. You don't have a proper dress on, my sister. Some of you, you're walking outside and you look terrible. What is the first thing you do when you wake up, or supposed to do when you wake up? You go in the bathroom, clean your behind, clean yourself up, wipe your face, clean those areas that are stinking and nasty. We're not trying to insult you, brothers and sisters, but you know what we do. You know, when I was a young boy, I took what was called bird baths. Some of you know what the bird baths are. Wash under your arms, and that was it. And you went outside. Because we weren't conscious of the proper hygiene that was needed to keep ourselves clean. And when the Muslims in the Nation of Islam are in our classes, the FOI classes and the MGT classes, we were instructed to at least bathe once a day. And if you can, bathe twice a day. Because your body is constantly deteriorating, or what you would call, your cells are dying and new cells are being born. So you got to clean yourself or you be smelling. You know, sometimes you smell, brothers and sisters, you in a environment and you smell them because they're not cleaning themselves. So you go in the bathroom and you clean up. And the first thing you wash is your face and your eyes, because you got to see. So that is also synonymous with us in society, brothers and sisters. Once we wake up, we got to clean up. Not just clean up our physical body, but clean up all the negative things in our life. Clean up the way we eat that is destroying our bodies. Clean up our negative behaviors and how we treat each other. First of all, you got to treat yourself better. You can't help anyone if you're not cleaned up. We cannot go into our society and we're dirty in our attitudes. We're unclean in our language, how we talk to each other. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, clean up, black man, clean up. And in the Nation of Islam, we couldn't even come into the temple or in the mosque with unclean ideas. They would check you at the door. Not only did we search you to make sure you didn't have any weapons or anything that was detrimental or unsafe to the congregation or to each and every one of us, but we checked your mind. No cursing, no foul language. So this is why some of these leaders, they are so-called leading you, but they're unclean. They're corrupt. Their attitudes are unsafe. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, I want to clean my people up so they can be accepted in society and the best in society. So people can look at us, because right now, the world sees black men and women that we're thugs, we're criminals, our women are bitches and hoes and loose. It's a shame. You got to clean up. The book of Ephesians said, you got to deal with principalities and evil and darkness and high places. And you can't do that if you're unclean, because you'll be just like them, following the ways and the actions of the white man. He is not the example for you and me. You got to wake up, get up out of your bed, and, out of your deep sleep of ignorance, and then you got to clean up so you can be accepted. Once you wake up, clean up, the next thing to do is you have to stand up. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, once we enter to the holy precincts of Islam, it removes all fear from us. And our only commitment and submission is to Allah, and to Allah only. And all fear and grief is removed. And we stand up like men and women. Do you know they brought our people here in ships, in the holds of ships, as I mentioned earlier, 400 years ago. And they tortured us and made us slaves, not only physically, but mentally. And we were no longer men and women. They treated us like children. This is why the white man can walk in your community right now. Right now! Take your woman, mistreat your children, control everything in your community. This is why the Koreans can come there. The Vietnamese can come there, the Russians, the Ukrainians. All those people can set up stores, the East Indians, the Pakistan, and you don't own nothing, and they can take, and you buy everything from them. You spend 100% of your money right there in your community, and the stores that you spend with, none of these people live there. And they take that money and bring it back to their community, or send it back to their country and their people, and leave you empty and naked, and you don't have anything. And then you complain on what they're doing to you and how they disrespect you because you're not standing up. It is the men that has to stand up. Some years ago, a young child, 2 years old, was shot in my community. I got all the men together. I called every man. I don't care. I said, I don't care what religion you live or you are a part of. I don't care if you're a Christian, a Muslim, or you don't have no religion. I had about 100 men. I said, we have to protect our babies. You got to stand up, black man. Stand up, black women. And we walked the streets. And I met every Saturday with these men. Some of them dropped off. That was all right. That's all right. But I let them know they had to stand up. Look at our leaders. Look at what Trump is doing. The Congressional Black Caucus. Many of them are men and women. They treat them like they're children because they're not standing up. When you stand up with a perpendicular, up and down. You're no longer on the dead level. Okay? When you stand up and defend yourself and defend your people and defend your community, you are respected. You are respected. I can walk in my community right now. I'm probably the only cat. I don't want to use my word. I'm not a cat. But I'm the only person. I can walk 10 o'clock at night, 3 in the morning, afternoon. And when I walk the street, they say, yes, Brother Ron. They respect me because they know I'm standing up like a man. They never saw me bow. One brother was pointing me out. You know, the young brothers, they're very animated. He said, see that nigga there, Brother Ron? He's a bad, you know. Because you got to stand up, brothers and sisters. They don't respect our leaders, or so-called leaders. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, when he started out, they said that he was a separatist, a hate teacher. And by 1959, from 1931, they were calling him all of these names. They have styled the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam as hate teachers. And they were calling us all kind of names, but they knew we were standing up. And in 1959, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had a big meeting in the Uline Arena in Washington, D.C. And when he got off the plane, they gave him a they gave him a police escort. He was a man that came from obscurity. He had been an alcoholic. He had nowhere to go, and he had children. And the man began to teach in 1931. They put him in prison. They tried to break him. But his belief in Allah and his understanding of this white man, this devil that our people are afraid of, he remained steadfast. All praises are due to Allah. And they gave him a police, almost like a presidential escort. And he stood on that stage preaching. Malcolm stood with him. Minister Farrakhan, as a young Muslim, was there. Some of the other ministers, Minister Jeremiah, Minister Abdul Kareem, Minister Lucius Bey, Minister Abdul Rahman. All these men were standing with him. And they respected this man because he stood up. Wake up, clean up, and stand up. And his basic message, brothers and sisters, that you need from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the knowledge of God. Now that's a spook, a spirit, but the God that dwells in each and every one of you. And the knowledge of the devil. The white man who has shown himself to be a devil that you must recognize and stop calling him names and call him what the scriptures identify him as. The Quran calls him Shaitan. Other places calls him Iblis. His evil not only affects others, but affects himself. And in the knowledge of ourselves, we have to know who we are, brothers and sisters. If we're not teaching our children who they are, well, how are they going to navigate through the world? The greatest knowledge is the knowledge of self. You got to know who you are. You might say, well, who am I? My name is Willie Davis. My name is Robert Johnson. My name is Ronald Stewart. That's just a name that was given to you. But who you are can be found in your consciousness, in the principles, in the character that makes you up. And that are you are from the God that created the heavens and the earth. And you should not be of the polytheists. We have to rid ourselves of the germ of unrighteousness. I heard Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I was listening to one of his speeches a few weeks ago. He said the germ or the gene of unrighteousness is still in us. It is inside of us. I was mentioning this to Brother Minister Wali. I said the messenger said that evil germ that Yaqub discovered is still in us. And I said, the messenger said, I'm not making this up. You can find it. He said it. I'm quoting. He said the gene or the germ of unrighteousness is still in the black man and woman. He said that's why we still do unrighteousness. Now, how do you get rid of that germ? How do you get rid of that gene? If the gene is in us, is it in our blood? It is in our DNA? Is it in the very makeup of us? Or is it in our head, in our thinking? So if it's in our blood or in our genes, then that means you need to have a blood transfusion. Now you're going to take 40 million people, now be reasonable, and give them a blood transfusion. That's not what it means, brothers and sisters. He means your very thinking. Your very thinking. That is the gene of your thoughts. And we have to cut it out. Treating each and every one of us. Treating us like worse than a white man treats us. Wake up, clean up, and stand up. You got to go to the bathroom. You got to clean up outside and inside. Clean up from the old world of unrighteousness. Clean up from the old world of all the behaviors. That's what Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us an X. He didn't give everybody a holy name. Most of us run around here with holy names. You got to live up to those names. Every name of the names of God, you got to live up to. He gave us an X. I knew brothers in the Nation of Islam that had been in there for 20 years and still had an X. X means you're an ex-dope fiend. You're an ex-prostitute. You're an ex-nigger. You're an ex-thief. You're an ex-wife beater and a mistreating of your children. You X'd out of all of that. You got to clean up outside and inside. Clean up from this old world. You got to eat the right foods at the right time. Stop eating those poison foods that are destroying your very body and killing you at 50 years old. D'Angelo, the great soul singer, young man, 51 years old, just died of pancreatic cancer. Cancer is running through the black community, men and women. It could be what we're eating and what we're exposed to. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, clean up from the eatings of the wrong foods, and you will live long, healthy, and you'll look good. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us for 40 years. As I begin to near my conclusion, see, those three things, wake up, clean up, and stand up, those are basic instruments that you can use to fight against the forces that are against the black men and women. This is why in the Holy Quran, on the 113th surah, which I will read, the 114th surah, which is called Al-Nas, because the Quran goes from Al-Fatiha to Al-Nas. The 114th surah is Al-Nas, means the men. This is why men, black men, you got to stand up. Don't be afraid. I know some of us are still on the devil jobs and we're a little uncomfortable, but be wise, be prudent, but don't be afraid, because he know what you're doing anyway. You think you hiding. I don't want any of you to get fired, but he knows all about you. I think I mentioned this one time. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was, in a particular year, he was reprimanding his ministers. He said, go ahead and teach my teaching. Stop trying to hide what I'm teaching you. Stop being afraid. Stop making excuses in the face of the white man. He said, they know more about my teachings than you do. You scared to teach my teachings. Because he said they know all of what I teach. In the 114th surah called An-Nas, in the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I seek thy refuge in the Lord of men. The Lord of men is Allah. See, the Lord of men. The word Lord, which is an Arabic word, means Rab, which means that or he who germinates or develops something from one stage to another until it reaches its eventual perfection. Rab. This is why you say in the prayer, Rabbil Alameen, the Lord. You saw those old English movies when the young boy said, my Lord, I seek your guidance, my Lord. That is his teacher. That is his nurturer. You know, the Jewish rabbi, the Jews call their rabbi, Rabbi, or Rabbil, same word, comes out of the Hebrew text or language. I seek your refuge in the Lord of men, the King of men, the God of men, from the evil of whisperings of the slinking devil. The slinking devil. We used to have a toy, some of you who are old enough to remember the toy they called the Slinky. It was a toy that was made out of like aluminum, and you would put it on the stairs and it would slink down the stairs. You know, it rolled slinkingly down the stairs. So this is why I said the slinking devil, because the devil would come up to you and make you think he's your friend. And you hanging out with him and you inviting him to all of your personal life and your affairs. And he whispers evil things in the hearts of men that make you throw you off from your guidance and the truth. This is why when Honorable Elijah Muhammad departed in 1975, many of them went back. Some of them went worse, to a worse behavior than they did before they came to the nation. So you have to be careful of those whisperers, not just the outside devil, the one inside. That is the one that's subtle. And you have to check it, because that can destroy you internally. So that's in the Holy Quran, which is the book of the Muslim. Seek refuge in Allah from that slinking devil. Wake up, clean up, and stand up. Those are the tools, basically, that you need to fight the devil outside and inside. In lesson number 1 of the Lost Found Lessons of the Nation of Islam, given to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, these questions, and I'm telling the brothers of the 5% nation, because I was original 5% in 1964. Those lessons were answered by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I thank the brothers of the 5% nation, because when Wallace Muhammad came in and told all of us to throw away the lessons, I didn't throw mine away. But I didn't study them like I did when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was among us. Maybe I threw them away in my mind, but I kept my lessons in my house. And many of the brothers threw those lessons away. But the brothers of the 5% nation kept those lessons. And they kept them vibrant and consistent. But brothers of the 5% Nation, be very respectful. And I know many of you are, of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because he answered those questions. And I know reasonably, if someone told me that a man, and I went to a bake shop, and I ate a bean pie, I ate a chocolate cake, because I love chocolate cake. And it was good. It was tasty. I want to know who the baker is. I just don't want the cake. I want to know who baked the cake. What are the ingredients? That's reasonable. That's rational, brothers and sisters. So the brothers of the 5% Nation, be respectful of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He answered those questions. I want to find out, how did he know those questions? What was his understanding? Because he was the one that answered the questions. So one of the questions, based on wake up, clean up and stand up, and how do you fight against the evils of darkness? Wow. Question number 10 in Lost Found Muslim lesson number 1. It says that why does Muhammad, or any Muslim murder the devil? What is the duty of each Muslim in regards to 4 devils? What reward does a Muslim receive by presenting 4 devils at one time? This is a question that was presented by Master W.D. Farad, God in person, to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he answered the question. It's kind of a subject in its own. I don't want to get into all of it, but I just wanted to introduce that to let you know you got to murder the devil. And I don't want any of you to misunderstand and say, Brother Minister Hawk told us to go out and murder 4 white people. I didn't tell you that, brothers and sisters. And don't spread something like that. And understand, you think the Honorable Elijah Muhammad would instruct his followers to go out and kill 4 devils? Come on. Now what does this mean? It's said because the devil is 100% wicked and will not keep or obey the laws of Islam. But one thing I want to focus on is the question, why does any Muslim, besides Muhammad or any Muslim, murder the devil? First of all, Muhammad is the guide, and the Muslims are the followers of Muhammad, based on their guidance from Allah. Okay? When you murder someone, you plan their death. This is why in the courts of law you have what you call premature murder, accidental, not premature. You have a killing, and then you have murder. When you kill somebody, that could be a mistake. You could be in a fight. You could have did something accidentally and not intentionally, and the person died. You killed them as a result. Or you were driving your car, and the person went out into the street, jaywalked, and you killed that. That person was killed. But when you murder someone, you plan it. You think about it. So when you murder the devil, you got to make sure that you know what you're doing and plan it so that devil will no longer exist. There were some brothers in San Francisco back in the 70s. You can read, there's a book called The Zebra Killers or Killings. They had charged 4 brothers who owned, they were in the temple in San Francisco. There were 4 brothers, they owned a company called Brothers Moving Company. And the FBI, the police department, charged these brothers with randomly killing white people. White people were dropping left and right in San Francisco. And they charged these brothers with killing white people They call them the zebra killings. Some of you might have heard about it. You can get the book. If it's not available, you can probably try to get it. These brothers was from Temple of Islam in San Francisco under the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They went to court. They call it the zebra killings because, a zebra has stripes. So the stripes are separated. So they use the term zebra because it separated the dates and the times and the events of these white people being killed. But they found out later those brothers were eventually exonerated. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad hired some of the best lawyers to protect those brothers and fight for them. And they tried to use, the prosecutor at the time tried to use the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in that lesson number 10. Why does Muhammad or any Muslim murder the devil? And what do you receive basically from murdering 4 devils? The 4 devils are the 4 evil: smoking, drinking, adultery, fornication. Or you could say is bringing 4 of our brothers and sisters to the Nation of Islam. 4 converts. I brought many brothers and sisters to the nation. So I got a lot of devils that I done killed. I brought my sisters, I brought my brother, I brought, brothers that I grew up with. They got their ex. So it's a lesson that has to be discussed. I can't go into all of it, brothers and sisters. But it says that one of your rewards is that once you bring 4 devils, you get a pin to wear on your lapel. And you got a chance to go to Mecca and visit Brother Muhammad. Your pen is here, where your heart is. Some of you won't physically ever go to Mecca in the holy city of Arabia, but you can go to Mecca with the truth, or in truth, in righteousness, because the whole world, the whole earth, 196,940,000 square miles. All of that belongs to the original people, the black man and woman. That can be our Mecca. It can't just be in one spot. As I conclude, brothers and sisters, wake up, clean up, stand up. And it says, those are the things that you need to sustain and maintain yourself in this war against principalities and darkness, powers in high places. It says, put on the whole armor of God. Now you might be, when you see in the movies, you see the English would wear armor, a head plate, a breastplate made out of iron and steel. That's physical. The whole armor is from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. Put on the whole armor. Not just some of the truth. Your armor is the truth. That is the weapon that is used against our enemy. You got to put everything on. You just can't wear some of the Islamic tradition of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You have to put on everything in order for you to fight. You've got to have a sword of truth. Put on everything. Some of us like to take just a little piece of the teachings. Some of us like to just just read the message of the black man and that's it. Or you might be proficient in the lesson. Put on the whole armor of God. In that great book, The Art of War, some of you need to get that book. The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu in his book said, never, ever let the enemy know what you're thinking. We talk too much. We're always telling them what we want. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad would never, he would tell his ministers and his captains, stop telling the white man everything we're doing. This is why when they used to ask some of the ministers, particularly Malcolm, they said, how many Muslims are there? What is the number of your membership? Malcolm said, those who tell don't know, and those who know don't tell. When the word is given, that's when we move. Never let the enemy know what you're thinking. Make them think you're weak when you're strong. And make them think you're strong when you're weak, so you can throw them off guard. This is why our leaders, black leaders today, they need vision. They need to wake up, stand up, and clean up. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was our visionary. He is our visionary. When you have vision, you can see down the line of time. You can see what's necessary in our community, what needs to be set up. One of the first things he did, he got our children out of the white man's schools. We got our children in schools, brother. We got our children in the white man's schools. What do you think they're learning? As much as you're trying to filter all of that madness that are in their minds when they come home, we're not going to save them all, because that stuff goes deep. That's why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says separation is the best and only solution for the black man and woman. We got to have vision. And Honorable Elijah Muhammad is a great leader. You have to protect that which you have and lead with truth. We have to teach unity, and we have to force unity. I'm saying this to all our brothers and sisters, wherever you are and whoever you are. We have to unify. And if you don't, circumstances that in the vision of Ezekiel said the four winds will blow. And they'll either force us to come together or you will die. But you don't have to if you just unify. We have to have that deep love for each other. I'm working on a subject called the awesome power of love. That is one of the elements, the principles that are missing. Listen to us, how we talk to each other, how we misuse each other, how we exploit each other. That element is missing, and it's in the greater community of our people. We have to have some money. You ain't going to build nothing if you ain't got no money. In our prayer, we said, oh Allah, seek refuge from cowardice. We can't be coward and afraid. And niggardliness, it doesn't mean niggers, like the white man put the niggard. To be niggardly is to be stingy, is to be tight in withholding all of our great jewels and holding back all of the great skills that we have. Stop being niggardly. Listen, niggardly. We have to have money. Some of us are living paycheck to paycheck. This make no sense. We spend more money with the white man than we spend with ourselves. We should have at least $3,000 that we can put our hands on, liquid money. Some of you don't know when your next rent coming from. Some of you don't know when some of you still living in public housing. Honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't teach us that. He taught us to be industrious, to build your own community. But we need money, brothers and sisters. You ain't going to free yourself without no money. And lastly, we got to have a plan of action. And the plan of action starts with the belief in Allah. Not in a spook God. Not as something that after we die. But a real live God who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad and his divine teachings from his servant and messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. All praises is due to Allah. You got to wake up, stand up, and clean up. Come on, black man and woman, you can do this here. And stop being afraid of that white man. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, if you take his teachings, and if you follow the guidance of his teachings, he said, you have that white man around your finger on a piece of string. You won't even know he's there unless he wiggles. Yes. The belief in Allah, the all-wise, the true and living God, who came to us here, the black men and women of America, in the divine person of Master W.D. Fard Muhammad. And with that, brothers and sisters, I thank you for listening, and may Allah grant you the light of understanding, because that is the best to have, is understanding. And thank you again as I close. Assalamu alaikum. Brothers and sisters, thank you again for listening to what we had to say on Muhammad's Sunday lectures, introduced to you and presented to you by Muhammad's Temple of Islam United. And we pray that you got something from this, but I want us to know that God came for us, brothers and sisters. And he is looking for us, because if we don't step up, if we don't wake up, stand up, and clean up, and get ourselves together, what we need to do is take some time, but it has to take some effort. And thank each and every one of you and all the brothers of Muhammad's Temple of Islam United that are working towards forming and structuring and teaching and doing things that's necessary. We don't know how long it will take us, but we're at it. And we welcome you to join us in that effort. So, brothers and sisters, again, thank you for listening. And I just want to close out in prayer. As I open, join me in the Muslim closing prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. All praises are due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Master of this day of judgment in which we now live. Thee alone do we serve, and thee alone do we beseech for aid. Guide us along the right path, along the path of those whom thou hast bestowed favors, but not upon the path whom thy wrath is brought down, nor along those who go astray. Say, He, Allah, is one God, Allah's whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He neither begets not, nor is begotten. There is none like him. And I bear witness that none deserve to be praised or worshipped besides Allah, who came in the person of Master W.D. Fard Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is his true servant, apostle, and messenger. Amen. Assalamu alaikum.